Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season. But we are looking forward, Kevin. And I was going to tell you what's going to be on this week's episode, but it's on the screen.
Yes, easy for me to follow.
Right, straight into it. The fixtures for 2024 have been announced. Everyone gets really excited about these and wants to know exactly when we're going to be playing Castleford at home. Is it going to be on July the 5th? Is it going to be on May the 8th on a Wednesday night, if that's a Wednesday night? Does it really matter?
No, not really. I think people look at it, obviously, to see when Catalan away is, so they can book the flights and hotel and whatever. See when the rounds of the Cup are going to be, and obviously see when our non-Good Friday game against Wigan's going to be. And that's what I look out for. The rest of them, much of a muchness. And I think I've seen people saying that the fixtures are lopsided to some extent, which, I mean, rugby league doesn't help itself. I think, was it Huddersfield have got 7 out of 9 games away from home in a run. I know.
I want to say Ian Watson has whinged about that, like he doesn't know why that is. He just needs to go and talk to his commercial department, and
yeah,
because they know.
Yeah,
so don't act all like they don't.
But and you kind of get why. You look at us; we've not got a home game in June. Does it really matter? I know people will probably come out a little bit more for the summer rugby if it's nice weather, but you've still got your games in July and August, probably when the schools are off as well, that we should be able to get people down to. You look at, say, for example, that August the 10th, Saturday, that one, 3 p.m. That is one that we should be absolutely selling out. I'm sure Salford fans, as long as the I don't want to say still going, but that's exactly what's in my mind. Now they've apparently been put into special measures. I'm sure their fans will visit over for a Saturday afternoon, hopefully a bit of sunny weather, hopefully a good game of rugby. But yeah, I think that the main thing with the fixtures is no one wants to see loop fixtures because they're boring. But they don't matter. They don't matter as such.
Sorry, I hadn't even realised. 3 p.m. on a Saturday, August the 10th, first day of the football season.
Oh, well, there we have it.
So that was going to be one of my questions, Kev.
Help itself. Go on.
The game doesn't help itself. Every game in 2024 is going to be either televised or streamed. There seems to be an awful lot of games on a Saturday afternoon. Luckily for Saints, not many. Is that actually progress for the game of rugby league?
In what way?
Well, will it help attendances? Will it, by putting fixtures on a Saturday against a packed sporting fixture list, will that gain you more exposure in the media?
I think that's one of the big issues that they've got to face. Not necessarily going head to head with well supported sports. I'm going to say fixtures wise. Listen, it probably will affect attendances that games are streamed and people can pick them up. But, and we'll get onto this with Magic, hopefully we're opening up to new eyes. So your people who go the game still go the game, and those who are watching on telly or streaming services or whatever can enjoy it and think, right, I'm going to get down to a game or two this year and kind of build that fan base. I know that's a very hopeful outlook from me. But again, I think this is the third time I've said it in this episode. Rugby league doesn't help itself if that August the 10th is the first day of the Premier League season, when we're in such a a crowded market. You look at ourselves, you look at Warrington, you look at Wigan, you look at Salford, who've got Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Everton on the doorsteps. Wigan Athletic play at the same stadium as Wigan Warriors. You've got Leeds, who Leeds United will be hoping to be in the Premier League by that point. You've got Hull, who've got to juggle a ground with Hull City. I just feel like we shoot ourselves in the foot sometimes. I know that at the end of the season, they stopped doing the Thursday fixtures. It looks like they're back. I suppose it's an open night for sport, unless you're in the UEFA Conference League or whatever the second and third tiers are. But sometimes you just think, is there a smarter way of doing this? And not having, say, that first February game, we're at home to London. There's 3 games on at the same time. If we're going to spread them out and have them all streamed and allow rugby league audiences to watch as many games as they can, is that the right way to do it?
Yeah. Listen, for me, you could do Saturday fixtures during the football off season, but maybe it's the generation I grew up in now. Friday night is rugby league night, and if you're not playing on a Friday night, Sunday afternoon, where yes, there are football games on, but less.
I suppose though, I absolutely loved it when we used to have a Saturday night fixture.
Yeah, but playing on Saturday night, 6 p.m, 7 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And at least you're competing against the afternoon fixture list for football. And listen, I know rugby league is a standalone sport, but you've got to be aware of what else is in the market and what you're competing against. Now, obviously, what you were saying about the lopsided fixture lists, unfortunately, football basically sets the bar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your fixtures are home, away, home, away. If you can't play on them dates, pretty much tough. So they take priority in terms of fixture planning. The likes of Huddersfield, Wigan can't really complain about their lopsided fixture lists because they share stadiums, and that is just part and parcel. If you don't want that problem, build your own stadium.
Yeah.
And be the masters of your own destiny.
Yeah. I think it's obviously really easy to say in the current financial climate, but you're right. If you want to be masters of your own destiny, then you have your own stadium that you look after. Salford have obviously now sharing with Sale as well. As I say, Hull FC with Hull City. It's just how it is. And say we've got a bit of a lopsided one though with June, where we've got no home games in June, possibly 2 trips to London in consecutive weekends. But I'm going to say that's because of our choosing.
Yeah, generally. Good start to the season. London at home, basically an extension of your pre-season.
Well, after what has been discussed on our shows and how London are staying part-time, you wonder how they're going to go, don't you? And whether they're going to have to get properly up to speed as part-time players and will start being a little bit more competitive once you get into the season. I'm saying this now, it'll finish 8-6 either way on an absolutely horrible evening in February.
Yeah. Those opening 5 fixtures, pretty friendly for us.
Not bad at all. To be fair, not bad at all. I think your main challenge from them, you'd probably say Lee at home. Just with kind of how they went last season. Salford are in a bit of a pickle at the moment. Leeds have brought quite a few players in. It depends how they gel. Huddersfield, again, another team who seemingly have a big turnover of players. Always a tough place, seemingly to go over, though we never kind of quite seem to put it to bed. But not too bad at all. Could have been worse, let's put it that way.
It almost feels like they don't want us to get to Wembley, though. You've got Leeds away before the Challenge Cup round 6. If you manage to get through that, you've got Wigan at home, where it'd been Good Friday, Catalan away before the quarter-final. And And then if you manage to get through all of that, you have Catalan the week before the cup final.
Oh well, you've got to win these games. We're expecting to be challenging at the right end of the league. We're expecting to be pushing ourselves through the cup run, unless we get a more tricky tie where you've got to go to, I don't know, say your Hull KR away or your Catalan away or someone like that. I'm not bothered that them fixtures coming though. It doesn't bother me at all.
Towards the September, coming towards playoff time, if you are juggling for the top spots, Huddersfield away, Warrington away in their season will be finished by then. Castleford at home, they should be well safe by then, so their season's gone. Lee away is a tough one to finish with.
Yeah, that Huddersfield one, that's a Sunday. Probably dictated by the footy again there. So short term round ahead of Warrington. But yeah, the Lee one again, when we turned up was that in February? At the start of 2023 season?
Yeah.
That was freezing cold, and we didn't look like we had it in us to beat them. They just kind of started rolling on us, and we didn't have an answer to it, did we? So yeah, that's a tough one. But you know what? If we're in the top two and we ended up losing that one, I wouldn't necessarily be crying too much, as long as we won the rest of the games for the season.
Before we move on, and just to mention the streaming again, I know we've always said clubs shouldn't rely on away fans for finance.
Correct.
But in terms of being a spectacle that you want to attend, I believe having a good away crowd helps create the atmosphere and makes it a spectacle that you want to go to. The concern is that when you're playing Huddersfield at home, Salford at home, Hull FC at home, Huddersfield at home, I've said them, Cass at home, because they're not expected to come to the Totally Wicked Stadium and win, and quite often get absolutely banjoed by us. If you're an away fan with 2 kids and partner, and it's £70, £80 worth of tickets to come to the Totally Wicked Stadium, and then your food and your transport on top, or you can get home on that Friday evening, get a takeaway, and sit in front of the telly and watch it. It's going to be an easy option, isn't it? And this is where we don't know where the financing is coming from the streaming, as the money been upped, which I suspect not, since the TV deal reduced. I don't think this streaming is going to last more than a year or two. I'll be blatantly honest. I don't think the clubs are going to go for it. They'll give it a go, and it won't work.
Well, I know what you're saying about the atmosphere kind of being better when you've got fans kind of singing and chanting and it being back and forth. In that case, then, if we're not going to get fans from other teams coming over, it's on the club to fill that east stand of ours with fans, whether that's giveaways to sponsors, whether that is community clubs, whether it's armed forces days, whatever it might be. You fill that stand as much as you can, because then you probably get your residual spend, where if you get a ticket for a community and it's like, well, the kids are a quid in with, and you can get 10 kids tickets for a quid with every full paying adult. You've then got kids who want crisps, sweets, chocolates, drinks, pies, hot dogs, shirt from the club shop or something from the club shop where they're going in and spending the money. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get onto merchandise again in a bit, unfortunately. So I won't go too much into that bit. But your residuals of actually being in the stadium and going down onto the concourse, that's where the club can make a bit more money.
Is this where the club is going to have to be creative in making the game day more than just about the match itself? Now, for me, I go and I'm not bothered about seeing the fireworks, the games on the pitch. anything else except the kickoff at 8 o'clock at night. But a lot of other people do want that. And I think you need to create things on the concourses to get people in the ground, whether that's local bands playing, whether there's fun and games for the kids, whether it's specially themed family fun days. There's got to be something else that is going to get people into the ground aside from a winning team on the pitch. Unfortunately, that's the nature of it, given that we're going to be putting it on stream.
Yeah, I think you do have to be creative. I think you look at, and I'll go back to Hull KR because they do some good things when they open their new stand. They've always seemingly had a band in that away stand. I don't know if they did this year. Wasn't sat in with the away section this year, but they've always had a band on, just playing to, and it might be like 3 or 4 lads, girls, whatever, playing instruments, singing away, just creating that little bit of something extra. It then holds you in by the bar, so you probably go get another pint, or you get another coffee, or you think, actually, the smell of that food, I could do with something to eat now, and then you get a little bit more spend. Just need to do that to try and, you're not forcing people to spend, but you're just suggesting that it might be a better idea for them at the time.
Yeah. Right. Magic. I wish it had magically disappear looking at that.
Oh, that Sunday is absolutely honking.
Now, it's almost as if, so we've suggested you can play that at Headingley.
Yeah.
And it's a better rugby league ground in Leeds. And given that it's only got 3 stands with a roof, that's saying something. You probably couldn't play the Saturday there because Leeds would get 12,000 home fans of their own and everybody else would struggle. But is that why they've put the Leeds game on the Saturday as well? Because if the ticket sales are so low for the Sunday, which you'll assume that they're going to be, you could have the option of moving that Sunday to Headingley.
Yeah, possibly so. I think it's one of the things that you just said there. Rodri Jones of the RFL, or whatever he is now, the fellow that they did a comprehensive global search to put in place, said that Ellen Road was one of the biggest and best stadia in the north of England, and it's not even the best stadium in Leeds. And Headingley's Western Terrace doesn't have a roof. It just smacks of someone who's sat in corporate and hasn't actually sat in the stands, hasn't actually, me at less than 5'10", doesn't have enough leg room in Ellen Road. It's a dump. And the only people who will argue that Ellen Road is a good choice is those who live near it and those who are Leeds United fans. Because it's like Anfield. They've put it at a ground where there's little to nothing round it. And they're trying to sell it as, oh, it's in a great stadium. Well, guess what? Anfield didn't have great leg room either. And I don't want to see it go back there. And I don't want to see it go back to, I don't want to see it at Ellen Road at all. And it's good that they're openly showing what fans have known for years, that Magic Weekend is no longer about growth. It's no longer about the growth of sport. It's no longer about getting new fans in who come down to this big event and make it a sellout. And you get other people who will then go to the Challenge Cup final because, you know what, they don't fancy Magic Weekend this year. They're going to go to the Challenge Cup final instead and start selling the tickets for that. It's great that they're absolutely openly showing it now. And when people say about travelling or Saints fans and whoever are whinging about travelling, the best ones have been Cardiff and Newcastle. The best Magic Weekends by far have been Cardiff and Newcastle. And what have they got in common? They're further away from Saints than Leeds are, and they've got stuff around them. Angus Kinnear of Leeds United as well. He said, everyone knows what a special venue Ellen Road is. It's not. It's a terrible venue. He wants razing to the ground and rebuilding. Anyway.
Well, if they were a championship club, they might be able to.
What were you saying?
When you're saying it's one of the best grounds in the north, Rodri Jones, it's not even as good as Goodison, and we're knocking that down.
Well, you know what? That's one of the grounds I was going to use. At Goodison, I went to an England under-21 football match against Portugal. It was the winning goal. I didn't see the fella hit it because there was a stanchion in the way.
See,
and I'd still rather sit there.
I absolutely love Goodison. Obviously, I've got possibly one of the greatest seats in the stadium. Front row, overlooking the field, which is, some would argue that's a terrible,
terrible. You want to be looking.
It's a terrible view. The atmosphere when it's full is brilliant, but every Evertonian you will speak to will tell you that we need to move stadiums because it's not good enough anymore. Unfortunately, it's outdated. Obviously, the sight lines aren't great. For a lot of the seats, they're very cramped. There's a lot of more obstructive views at Goodison than anywhere else in the country. It's still a better stadium than Leeds, which has got one big stand and 3 awful old ones. It's.
I'm not going to disagree with anything bad you say about Ellen Road.
It's in the middle of better stadiums in the north, Kevin. I'll even say Anfield is better than it. Good, well, it is. It is
still cramped.
I wouldn't have it there. I wouldn't have it at Goodison. Man City's ground is obviously better. Old Trafford, even though it's showing its age a bit, is a better stadium. The Reebok Stadium, or whatever it's called, the Tough Sheet Stadium these days, is a better stadium, even though it's on a retail park. Hull, better stadium. I could name so many. But as you said it's not about growth anymore. You could argue when it went to Newcastle and stayed in Newcastle, it wasn't about growth. But you could argue then, well, it became a party weekend and a chance for fans to go and stay in the city on a booze up and have a good time. They've took that away as well.
Yes, that's the thing. It's like they've thought, right? Who've we got mates? Who've we got mates that that we can get into a stadium? Well, we've dealt with them before, so we'll get into to Ellen Road. It smacks of people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing again. And
no one's going to stay in Leeds, are they?
No.
No one. No Hull. Let's have a look. Hull FC fans will travel to their game on the day and be home by 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Saints and Wigan fans aren't going to travel and stay over in Leeds when it's an hour and 20 minutes up the road. London Broncos fans, they might bring 25, 30 people maybe. Will they stay? Possibly overnight. Warrington fans won't stay over because they're an hour and 20 travel. Leeds fans all go home after the game. Lee and Salford, an hour up the road, they'll just travel over on the day. Catalan fans won't bring anyone. Hull Car fans travel on the day. Huddersfield, half an hour up the road. Cass, half an hour up the road. So no one's staying. There's no atmosphere in the city. It's literally, we're just all travelling to a random stadium to play around the Super League.
Yeah. And you could do that pretty much anywhere. I've seen ideas thrown out there, like have it go on the road, not necessarily thinking that the sport's got the money for that, or we've got the infrastructure or the buy-in from Sky to take like Hull FC versus London to Sunderland, we'll say, Saints versus Wigan.
Sunderland would have been a good stadium. You could take it to the Stadium of Light. Saints
versus Wigan, take it to Nottingham. Wolves, Warrington versus Leeds, take it to Bristol. We've probably not got that infrastructure and that buy-in of people.
Did anybody ever consider Nottingham would have been a great place for it?
30,000 you can fit into the City ground,
which is all you'd need.
Yeah, about 7,000 or 8,000 less than Ellen Road.
People might have gone for a weekend in Nottingham.
Yep. I could have got a train to the local station to me.
I'd argue that you probably wouldn't go for a weekend in Sunderland, but you could have stayed in Newcastle.
Yep.
But Stadium of Light, absolute cracking little stadium. Or big stadium, as the case may be. Yeah. I would sooner they'd have come out last week and said, listen, Newcastle's not available because They now think they're a big, rich Saudi club. They don't need Super League's money anymore, so we can't hold it in Newcastle. The only other option available was Ellen Road, so we've decided to just not have it this year. And everybody would have gone, yeah, all right.
Yeah. So we've got to travel to the DW twice, and one of them is, when was the Wigan fixture? Was it June or July? Or I think it was. And then we've got to travel over in August. Okay, so 2 potentially summer days, and it's still going to be on the Saturday. 2 potentially sunny days. We're going to get over there and we're going to enjoy the hospitality that Wigan has to offer. Tremendous. I'd rather have done that.
I'd rather have let them play the Magic game at Wigan.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's next to an industrial. It's on an industrial estate. It's right next to a motorway. It still takes an hour and a half to get away from it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just there's nothing. There's just nothing redeeming about it at all.
No new features at all. And as I said, that's Hull KR versus Catalan game for quality on the pitch with the current. And I'm going to always caveat this with the current way that Salford are. I think that's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting in the quality stakes.
Yeah. As you can guess, Super League have urged fans to get their tickets as early as possible. What I would suggest is just hold off, because the week before that, there'll be that many freebie giveaways. You'll be getting paid to take a ticket.
Yeah.
Just hold fire on your money. Go and spend it in the Saint shop. Which brings us to the 2024 merchandise range, Kevin.
How do I leave this call for this?
It's very safe. It's very standard. Nothing overly exciting. I just wish they'd take a couple more risks. I look at the merchandise that Wigan bring out, that Leeds have brought out, that Premier League clubs bring out, and you've always got a range of like training t-shirts with like fancy patterns on. Ours is just very plain, and I can't really say much more about it. There's nothing that excites me about it. And do you know what? There'll be some people from inside the club who will probably listen to this and think they're moaning. We're just trying to be the critical friend.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at that match day range and that core range, and aside from them putting a different colour back on the match day range, it's another playing range.
I'm not sure what separates them two ranges.
Yeah, and it might be that there's a little bit of a subliminated design in one of them compared to the other, but there doesn't look too much. Then that captain's run, that St. Helens RFC graphic with, I take it that where it fades into what's meant to be a V. If I got started on the fact that Saints seemingly bring out a lilac or a pink shirt in women's sizes, I'm not entirely sure I'd be allowed back in the club if I got properly started on that, because I think it's wrong. You just bring out the colourways in men's and women's sizes. You don't start putting diamantes on it or making it more of a pink, a lilac, a whatever colour you want, peach, and just market it to women. I think that's wrong. And the one thing I will pick up on this is I'm saying this as someone who, I think I've mentioned in the past, I work in finance at the minute. I did 15 years for a sports retailer. 15 years in various different roles for a sports retailer. I know that people walk in and go, is that all you've got? Have you got anything else? Is there anything else coming out? Because they see the same top. It's like a Scooby-Doo cartoon with the background. You walk around the club shop and the background doesn't change. You walk past and it's red, grey, black, white, red, grey, black, white, red, grey. Oh, there's a bit of lilac here. And then it starts again. It's boring. It's safe. It smacks of... It just smacks of, we're not going to try anything different. We're not going to get a smaller range of something that's a bit mad and see how it goes.
I don't know whether it is the club or whether it's O'Neill's. It almost strikes me that O'Neill send through a catalogue of their standard ranges, and basically the club go, yeah, we'll have that, and we'll put it back, and you just stick a badge on it.
Possibly so. Possibly so.
So is the time going to come where, although the merchandising agreement with O'Neill's might be favourable, do we need to look at trying to get a favourable arrangement with an Oxen, a Kappa, a Castore, anyone who will do us a more bespoke range? Like, I've seen some of Wigan's training gear. Like, you might not like the colourways of it, but that's fine. You don't like them colourways. But they've got training t-shirts with like mad designs on, but you can see the club badge in the background of it. You've got Leeds. If you look at any Premier League club at the minute, if you look at any of their training kit for a match day, it'll be based generally on the colourways of the kits for that, whatever they're wearing that day. And they'll have some sort of like intricate design on it, like, which makes it different for the year.
Right, and not only there's two things that I want to come in on that. One, I know some people don't want mad designs. Well, guess what? That's what the core training range, or not both, core or match day training range are for. They're for you, the plain ones. Even the captain run one of them shirts looks quite plain on that graphic there. That's for you. But you have mad designs. What do you see kids wearing an awful lot of these days? I go with the Monterex stuff, where it's like the really colourful, kind of like almost multicoloured t-shirts, which have got that, it's almost like a Marley pattern on it.
We've done Marl once before. We've gone away from it, but that's the fashion at the moment. It's like, I know I'm talking about the mad designs. Listen, it's not for everyone, but that is what the current fashion is. And we don't seem to have gone with the trends.
And I bet kids are more likely to go for something that's a little bit out there, a little bit more like the football stuff.
You know what? I've suggested this. I would approach Monterex and see if they would like to get into team sportswear and become their first client.
I think the issue though is we're in a contract with O'Neill's, and
once that's up, obviously. But just to hear me out, Monterex, which is like become across the north and it's going nationwide, are massive. If you go to the Trafford Centre at the moment and you look at the building a JD flagship store across about 4 massive stores, the billboard is all Monterex. It was all Monterex is. It was created by 2 lads from Kirby. Basically in the house, they just created a couple of designs, started putting them out there on Instagram, sent them out to some like UFC boxers, like type people, got them to wear the gear, and all of a sudden it blew up and it's become absolutely massive. Probably similar to how Castore first started. I think that was a guy from the Wirral who first started that brand, and they've gone pretty big, haven't they? But Monterex, 2 lads from Kirby, they've got a big factory over by Liverpool Airport in Speak. Be different. If you don't want an Oxen or you don't want a Kappa, approach someone different and see what they can do for you, and you become their flagship clients and get bespoke gear. I tell you what, if we sold Monterex gear, I tell you, the shelves would be empty.
Fair enough.
You might even get a different audience as well, who aren't necessarily rugby fans buying it.
I think we've said this about kits and that, to go a little bit more out there. We've given our opinions on the home and away shirts of this year. I will go back to the fact that the O'Neill's deal is very, very good for the club.
Yeah, and you've got, and if finance probably rules all. As the critical friends, I would suggest if we can get O'Neill to do us more bespoke ranges, and which is in line with trends, the club will sell more merchandise. That's all it is. On the plus side, Kev, we've got fleece essentials still to come. You're going to be really disappointed if they're not fleecy.
Well, the fleece essentials, I'll just have a little look at the weather for tomorrow just on my phone. Oh, it's starting out at 0 degrees, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. So that fleece essential range, get down to the club shop and, it's not out yet.
It's the end of November. We are in winter. would it not have made sense to put out the fleece and winter gear before your captains run summer t-shirts?
Yes.
Before everybody has already gone and bought a winter coat.
Would it not have made a lot of sense to start running one of this training range as soon as the season finished, so you still have people going up to your club shop?
As part of this Fleece Essentials range, there has to be the oversized, like, night hoodies, like the hoodies, the long. Why have we not got them with a Saints badge on to get your kids for Christmas?
Don't know.
I would suggest that the merchandising side of the club should get a list of every Premier League club, every other top flight club in Super League, go to their merchandise sections of the website and get ideas of what we should be stocking in the shop.
You know what would be another good idea? Let's speak to Saints fans.
Yeah. What do you want? How many female fans have actually sent us a message and spoke to us over the last week or two and said, yeah, I really want that the top that's in black, why is it not available in women's sizing?
Oh, it's been unreal. It's been absolutely unreal getting stopped by people about it.
We must have had about 20 DMs of people who've just dropped us a message and said, yeah, I fully agree. Why is it not in black? It's just it's a core colour.
Yeah.
Male or female. Make it available in women's sizing.
Why is the lilac not available in men's?
Because that's the best colour.
Yeah.
That's probably the one. If I was going to buy it, I'd buy the lilac one because it's different.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from this before I properly lose me rag.
Captain, leader, legend James Roby was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, normally players wait 5 or 6 years after retirement before they're inducted by the Past Players Association. But at the club's 150th anniversary dinner, lead president of the organisation, Harry Pinner, was joined on stage by Chairman Eamon McManus, and James Roby was inducted immediately, as he should be. And it was a great moment for him and all his family who were able to be there to witness it.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well deserved. I don't think anyone will argue with the club breaking from tradition on this. I think it's something that they've done really well. And getting him in there now, and it's something they can kind of build on, keep that Past Players Association right in the forefront of people's minds. And having such an iconic player who has only just retired being inducted into it, absolutely wonderful. Wonderful for him, wonderful for his family.
What I would say is it was the 150th anniversary of the club at the weekend. They held a 150th anniversary dinner, which we were very, very fortunate to be at.
Yeah, very.
What I will say is, I know we've just had a bit of a critical friend moan about the merchandise. The corporate side of the club, in terms of what they can offer in corporate facilities, food, drink, as a venue, is absolutely top notch. It's Premier League standard.
Yeah.
Fair. And is a real massive, massive, is the word Philip for the club?
Yeah.
The corporate side of the club is brilliant.
Yeah.
Probably it's got to be the envy of most of sport in the Northwest. It's on a par with anything you get elsewhere. Yeah,
it was. It was well on show, as you say. We were very, very privileged to be there, and we kind of don't take it lightly. I'm still pinching myself that we were, but yeah, the hosting of it, the whole evening, they just got it absolutely spot on. Running through the years, having ex-players there, having the women's team there, having people from relatives, of past players. So like relatives of Tom van Vollenhoven there and others. They just get it right, don't they?
Yeah, it was first class. Kev, you also had chance to meet rugby league royalty, which was probably your favourite moment of the evening.
Yeah, it was rugby league royalty in Ray French. Ray's an absolute legend. Me and one of my mates, for years and years, have always kind of gone back and forth with our favourite Rayisms. He's the voice of rugby league. Somebody actually tweeted me and said that it was people like you've got certain like names like Murray Walker for Formula One, Peter Alice for the golf. We've got Ray French. He is the voice that loads of people, especially of our era and a bit older, will have remembered from a Saturday afternoon. And I know there have been others, and there will be others. But yeah, it was tremendous. Got a great picture with Ray. Absolutely made up with it.
People quite lucky. Obviously, you've had Ray French. We've probably had Eddie Hemmings as well.
Yeah.
Which, given some of the state of the commentary that we see now, which sounds like the board, and
doesn't it just? Yeah.
At least a good commentator makes the spectacle more exciting.
Yes. Well, it's stuff that you can then go back to. And so the wide to west try, imagine the wide to west try with no commentary. Yeah, it'd be tremendous because you could hear the crowd a little bit more. And you could hear kind of nothing's going to happen. And then it's obviously coming to a crescendo. Imagine that with some of the commentators we hear today. And then you just put Eddie Hemmings over the top of it. And it builds it into such a momentous occasion. And there's stuff like Ray French would just say, now then, and it might be Martin Afire getting the ball, and he'd go, now then, because something could have been on the. He always knew that there was a chance, and it wouldn't necessarily work for all players. He might have used it for all players, but it's just such a simple phrase that you think, yeah, there's something about this fella. He knows it, he gets the game, rather than just someone who's seemingly reading a script that the board, oh yeah, he goes, Tommy Makinson, oh, that's his second try of the game. Yeah, brilliant. Like, not that it's the last minute and it's the try to put you a point behind and the kick to come is going to be the most crucial kick of the season. Dull, isn't it?
If wide to west had been commentated on by Bill Arthur,
oh, yeah,
it would have been a try that would have been long forgotten.
Yeah, but potentially so, yeah. You imagine as well, like Kieran Cunningham's last try, where Eddie just keep Cunningham, and it's just that. It'd have just been like, oh yeah, he's trying to power his way over, and it wouldn't have been that. I'm caught up in the moment, but still professional about it.
Who would have said, Cunningham, that could be the match winner, that. He might have won the game for St. Helens. When it's a try after the hooter.
Yeah.
He might have won it. I'm not sure. I'm covering myself.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, James Roby, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, a worthy honour, and yeah, great to see.
We're just getting old. We're just moaning.
Yeah, we are. This feels like a proper morning one. Anyway, moving on.
Right. On a beautiful note, we will finish on the Saints Community Development Foundation's Boots Christmas Appeal, once again being supported by obviously the foundation and the club sponsor Home Bargains. If anyone can donate toys, selection box or gift sets, or any food that can contribute to a hamper as they look to support the community this year, they've just asked that there's no dairy, no bread, or no really short-term food products donated, just so they can use it over the next coming months. Drop-off points are the Community Development Foundation's hub at the Shining Light Centre in Sutton Manor, the club's main reception, and the Home Bargain stores at Newtonley Willows, Peasley Cross, or the Linkway store. Obviously, the great work that the foundation do. And I think the best thing about this is you can be assured that any of your donations will go back into the local St. Helens community.
Yeah, absolutely gutting that we've got to do this as a community and as a society. But the fact that we know that the Saints Community Development Foundation do such good work, it's heartening to know that we will help others out and we can help others out. And as a club, it should be applauded. As you say, all the short date stuff, it might be worth as well getting some stuff that people can eat cold, because the cost of living through electricity and things like that, sometimes people can't even afford to switch the gas or electric on for the short amount of time as you might see it, half an hour to cook something in the oven, something that is quite quick to do, as well as all the things that they want. Might just be worth keeping that in mind too. And once again, we'll do bits with the Community Foundation next year, because they are such a cracking organisation run by such a good bunch of people, and hopefully Saints fans can get behind this.
Yes, and just to add, if you've got any wrapping paper or gift bags as well, they will take them, just to give them a chance to present them beautifully when they give them as the gifts this holiday season. See, that's a positive note, Kevin, to finish on.
It is. As I say, I'm not necessarily happy that as a society we've got to go through this, but it is a positive that we've got such an organisation who will sort this out and will help those who are in need.
Only 12 months potentially before we can start making changes to this country, and that is the end of the Redvee TV political political broadcast.
Yeah.
Or somebody will win jealous for that.
Don't get people started.
Yes. Right then. Therapeutic, that, Kevin, wasn't
he? Yes. Something like that.
Right. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll be back over the weekend with one of our Redvee TV specials. Catch you soon.